Time for the comment bag. I told you all I would take your comments. You left me a bunch. We really appreciate the engagement and the support. I'm going to go through a few of them. We'll talk about it. All that coming up in about, 10 seconds. What is good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, talking OU football, college football, and sports in general. And in this video, it's the comment bag. All your comments from my reaction video on the TCU game, we put them all on here. We're going to talk about them. So, honestly, this kind of just dive right in. But first, while you're here, hit the like button. That lets YouTube know that I'm doing something right, and it's a big deal for us content creators. Helps us with the algorithms and stuff. And then subscribe if you want to see more of this content. And then share, because why? Sharing is caring. So on this one, on this comment bag, we're going to go through. I have a few of the comments here that I want to walk through. We're going to talk through them and give you guys my opinions on that. I was going to type them out, but I was like, you know what? I think it'd be a lot more fun and more engaging if I actually make a video about this stuff. And so this is what you're getting today. And so with that, I had about 55 comments, and I really appreciate that. I only had 44 likes. Come on, y'all. Show some love. Hit that like button. That helps me to be able to make this content more. It gets with the algorithm, gets more views, gets more engagement, and we can have more topics and conversation. But no, outside of that, seriously, truly, I appreciate the outpour of love and everybody out here showing the support. We're at about 2,300 subs. Our goal is to get to about, 4,000 by the end of November. So let's see if we can push it. Right now, we're pushing for 3. So sharing is caring. So let's go ahead and dive into these comments. So y'all had fun. Some roasting. We had trolls. We had love. We had hate. We had all this stuff. But, we're going to start off here with my main man, Hank. And so with Hank, I'm with you. Didn't expect this kind of a flop from the team. Bevels doesn't like he's able to come run the offense. Yeah, Hank, I'm with you here. One of the things I'm concerned about is the quarterback room. It feels like it's Dylan Gabriel and everybody else. I mean, Nick Evers is one that's been in conversation all week about potentially getting some game and maybe starting in the Red River rivalry. But, he's young. And I'm hoping that this staff isn't just banking on Jackson Arnold, which I love Jackson Arnold. But if we're trying to bank on him next season, we'll be starting a freshman. And then, of course, I have concerns about freshmen starting. Not that they're bad. It's just they're the next level. But at the same time, Jackson Arnold proves me wrong. I love it. So I think he is a 2 to 3 year starter. But at the same time, yeah, it does not feel like we've got much going on. And then on the 4-man front, I've talked about this a few times. I don't know about the 4-man front. It depends on who you're playing in the defense and the personnel. If you put a 4-man front out there and they still can't get anything going, you just opened it up to where the defense can, have one more open person on the field. So I get that. I get everyone talking about that, but I'm not sure when it comes to that portion of it. And of course, he's ride it out to the end. Thank you, Hank. You'll see this comment again a little bit later. All right. Kalen and Ovaltine made some Ovaltine Jenkins, that's pretty funny, made some pretty good points. So like Kalen mentioned, I talked about, this is the first year with this staff, they're getting things together. It's all good, everything, but TCU's going through the same changes OU did, and they're playing mistake-free hard football. Kalen, you're right. And then the of course Ovaltine has to put the stuff on there. It's his first year thing. Doesn't sit well when Sonny Dykes is facing the exact same situation as Venables, and his team doesn't appear clueless. I didn't expect undefeated, but I also didn't expect a regression to Mike Stoops' era. He doesn't have the personnel to run his defense. A good coach will run another defense this year until he gets the right personnel out there. Now, that's wrong, Ovaltine. That's completely false. A coach is going to implement his style because that's the style that he's seen has been proven to win. He just needs to get this personnel or the next set of personnel out there to do it. And, Kalen, you make a great point. Both of you do about Sonny Dykes. So also to remember, Sonny Dykes has been a head coach for a few years. He's moved around. He's had some winning seasons. He's had some good years from SMU, LA Tech, even Cal. I mean, hell, he helped our boy Jared Goff become the number 1 draft pick. He's an offensive guy, so it's a lot easier for an offensive guy to walk in and just keep things rolling because the offense will make up for what the defense can't do. And that's what we did with Lincoln Riley. We saw it was proven. Our defense struggled underneath Riley, and we all talk about that all the time. So I get that, but at the same time, Steven makes a good point. TCU didn't have a Heisman Trophy candidate last season, which Caleb Williams probably at the forefront right now if USC keeps playing the way they're playing. And we'll talk about them a little later. And also, Joshua pointed this out. Sonny Dykes isn't a first-year head coach. I just said that. He's also, to be fair, they are running the most vanilla 3-3-5 defense you can see. It's because they're trying to work the personnel in to understand the communications that need to be done and for them to get better together. They're trying to make the defense work on the defense that Venables has seen and proven to work in college football and national championships. That's the point. This defense is similar to what Saban runs. You've heard me say this before. He takes elements from Saban. He took elements from like Iowa State. Thanks to Ty Hayes for pointing that out. And he saw success at Clemson. You go look at how he did at Clemson in defensive ranks. Someone posted on Twitter. I'll post it later this week when we talk about the Texas game. Now, this one is kind of a key one here, and I think this is a good one from Matthew as well as Stephen talking. Matthews made it point out he inherited 11-2 team. You're right. All of them came in 3 or 4 wins last year before they were hired. Venables was one of the oldest rosters in the Big 12 and by far the best athletic. USC won 4 games last year. You're right. Under a good coach, they're undefeated. We've seen Venables' defense at OU. They aren't good. OU might beat West Virginia. I predict they don't finish in the top 20 of recruiting by the time they lose 5 games. Kids will decommit from greener pastures. No, Matthew, that's not going to happen. I mean, you've seen Texas keep getting top 5 recruiting classes. What are you talking about? I understand your angst and fear, but a lot of recruits see that as barbecue chicken. They see the opportunity to take jobs, and they see the opportunity to play as freshmen. And when they see the opportunity to play as freshmen, especially when they're highly ranked like that, yeah, they want that. They want that immediately, especially when you have coaches that have put players in the NFL. Saban has a whole bunch of stable of dudes that are willing to sit on the bench and wait. Some of these dudes are like, if I can get there now and play, I'm going to go for it. Steve made this point too. This goes back to Kalen and all of them. This is the difference between Sonny Dykes' situation and what's happening here in Oklahoma. 40 players never donned an OU jersey before. Yes, there's a lot of veteranness on this team, but they just weren't at Oklahoma. So this is all new. I point that out for a reason. Sonny Dykes went over there to TCU. Max Duggins, he's a 4-year starter. He's been at that same school, basically running a similar system. And what happened? He brought in Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's little brother, to run a very quarterback-friendly offense. And they just spread that thing and go. It works. Lincoln Riley is a great offensive coordinator. We've seen him do it for years. Y'all can hate him all you want. I totally get the angst you may have for him leaving, but at the same time, to me, he's really great at his job. Can't be mad at him for it. And he decided to go somewhere else where he felt like it'd be easier for him. I don't find a problem with that either, because I do feel like Oklahoma's in a better place. We're seeing better recruiting classes already. Last year was a top 10 class that they was able to somehow get. And then this year, we may end up with a top 5 class. We don't know. But it's going to be another top 10 class, and that's the type of stuff you use to build up national championships. So with that, it's going to take time. Irregardless, Oklahoma is different than everybody else. It's easier to win from 4 games to 9 games. It's easy to go from 4 to 8. It's easy to go in that range. It's really hard to go from 9 to 10, and even harder to go from 10 to 11. That's been proven, because it's those 1 games against elite teams that makes it tough. And I'm going to point out something else for you all a little bit later. Coach Roof, has he hit his ceiling? That's a good question, John. And one question I was thinking about, mainly because of one thing. I didn't realize Ted Roof had been at 6 jobs in the last 6 years, right? So, you go look at Ted Roof's resume. Last year, he was an offensive analyst at Clemson, helping out there. He was a defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt in 2020. He was at Appalachian State in 2019 as a defensive coordinator. NC State as a defensive coordinator and assistant head coach in 18. And then from 23 to 17, he was at Georgia Tech as their DC. So there's a lot of movement from my man Ted Roof. And I'm hoping that this stability here is good, but I don't know. I mean, the last time he was a head coach was at Duke from 04 to 07. So no one's really given him another opportunity to go head coach. Hopefully they can figure it out. But I'm curious if Brent Venables is actually taking over a lot of the play calling, or if he's really leaving it to him and Bates. Kind of want Bates to start making some plays. I don't know. I just got to get we get the defense going, period. All right. Let's go to some of these positives, which I really appreciate. Anthony, ride or die with the team. Yeah. He had a feeling it was be a down year. I get you, man. I didn't think it was going to be this down of a year, but at the same time, I do expect this team to still have a winning record, which is the only thing that matters in my eyes. Having a winning record helps you to move forward, and there's the reason why. Everybody has made mention about certain people in their first years. Dabo Sweeney was like 6-5. Bob Stoops was 7-5 his first year, but I don't think those are a fair comparison. The most fair comparison that you're going to have, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. It's Kirby Smart. We'll talk about that in just a second. Actually, back to this comment here. Matthew made this point of being 11-2 team whenever he took over. Kirby Smart took over a 9-3 Georgia team, a team that was a consistent 10-win team over so many years with Mark Wright, who was a really good coach at Georgia. He just couldn't get them the hump. Like I said, getting from 9 to 10 is hard. 10 to 11 is even harder because that means you have to beat the elite of the elites. College football has parity from 5 down. Like there's buku parity. And Joe Klatt said this on his show not too long ago, that the difference between 1 and 5 is about as equal as is the distance between 6 and like 64. As in the teams from 6 to 64, their gap in difference is not very big. It's just the top ones that are. That's the difference maker in college football. That's why there's parity in college football, except for at the top, because they keep getting all the top talent into the top coaches. That's just basically what it is. And so for Venables, he's going to have to figure out how to become one of those top coaches to be able to participate in that. So go back to the love. Steve, ride or die, didn't expect to go down. Going to be in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl this week and hoping we don't get completely blown out. Me too, man. Same. Black Bear of Arg. I love that name, by the way. Rams fan was in St. Louis. Got a Super Bowl, though. Got to say that. And stuck with them when they moved to California. Got another Super Bowl. Congratulations. And probably was with the Sooners in the 90s. And remember, Sooners have won a championship. That's the one thing I love, is that all of my sports teams have won a national championship in my lifetime. So I've got to experience that. My college ones when I was young, I would like those in my adult life, but we'll see what happens there. And then Greg says he's still here. And I asked y'all still here? Y'all still riding for these Sooners? Because I am. No reason not to say that. Greg's still here. He understands. Now, the question is about Nick Evers really not ready. Rumor I've heard is, and this is from some players talking to some people, the rumor I've heard out there is that Nick has an issue with catching the ball from the snap. Yeah. Once he gets himself buckled down, I think he'll be good. But so far in practice this week, he's looked a lot better than he did in fall camps as well as in spring ball. So there's a chance we may see him. I want to see General Booty. I just want to see if he can actually do it. He was really good in JUCO, but I'm hearing rumors that he ain't no better than Bevel, and that hurts my heart because I am a General Booty enthusiast. We'll see. Yep, them fake OU fans are ones that are still in love with boy. Now, see, I don't really fool with the TBOW stuff or whatnot because I don't have an issue with Lincoln Riley. He did a really good job here. He did what he could, and he hit his ceiling. And I understood why he left. He hit his ceiling here. He couldn't figure out how to get the players to do what he needed, the players he needed in order to be able to go against the elites. We think this USC team is just so great because they're winning in the Pac-12. Fantastic. Look at the competition they're playing. Wait till they have to start facing up against, the elites, the ones that Lincoln Riley had a problem with. He did the same thing in the Big 12. He was dominant in the Big 12 the entire time. And then guess what? Went up against who? Clemson, got beat up. Georgia should have won, but didn't play right. Alabama and LSU, what happened? They beat them up. Let's see that happen first. When he does that, then I will say that it was more OU than Lincoln, but I need Lincoln to prove it to me there. So you're asking Nietzsche if I've jumped ship? Hell no, I'm down like 4 flats on Cadillac in grandmama's front yard. What are you talking about? I'm not going nowhere. I'm still going to be a Sooner fan regardless. Y'all know my 2 teams. I have my team. I have my SEC team and my Big 12 team, which I'm going to have 2 SEC teams. And it's going to be really weird and uncomfortable next in about 2024, 2025. But we'll figure that bad boy out because when they play each other, I'm just not going to wear anything. I'm just going to enjoy the game and not even probably talk about it. But outside of that, I got my squads. I love them. I've loved them since I was a child. I am one of those persons that meme that was talking about. Guys pick their team when they're young and they let them break their hearts for the rest of their lives. Yes, all of my teams have broken my heart at least once or 50 times, and I'm still riding with them. Why? Because, I don't have commitment issues. I'm committed. Bruce, sooner born, sooner bred. When I'm dead, I'll be sooner dead. I smelled the Rockets cooking too. All right, Sean, this is one I want to talk about too. Got a couple more slides. It's going to be a longer video for you all. While you're here, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for showing love. You guys are amazing. No, I look good defensively. You are right. And all players to call out, you call out Trey Morris. Nah, bro. Deshaun White needs a new position. So somebody point this out to me. Now, I called out Trey Morrison for one reason, because he was the one that was on those blow coverages. That was his spot. White, it seems like he's doing a lot of other people's jobs. And that's something that I've heard somebody that breaks down defenses point out. And I didn't really look at it that way. And I was like, you know what? It's a good point. Go back and relook at it. Yeah, you're right. I had an issue with the way Trey went out there and got that hit. That hit bothered me. Like, he leveled the dude when it was an interception. It's right there. I want these defenders, and I talked about this on a Friends podcast, I want these defenders to do a better job of actually intercepting passes. If we go out there and try to intercept passes, guess what? I'll be a lot happier. We're not getting that right now. That's what I need at them. Give me some interceptions, and I won't say anything. Yeah, we all drink the Kool-Aid. Actually, we all read the press clippings. They read the press clippings too, and that's why Agent K and J from Men in Black was basically using the phaser to delete their memory every single time they read about themselves. As they drank more of their own Kool-Aid, the more and more they got deleted, and it seemed like we've got to play defense. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are not playing good on defense the last two games. It's what it is. The last two games, the defense has struggled. Irregardless of what the offense was going to do, that defense was still going to give up points. We talk about this all the time. One of the key things about offenses and defense, they got to help each other. I need the offense to stay on the field longer so the defense can rest, and the defense needs to get out there and force the other team off the field faster. That's what we need. Unless you go out there and you score 21 points in like a 6-minute span. If you do that, that helps the defense out because you know they're going to pass it. They have to pass it because they got to play catch up. I need you to help us out, offense. Start running the ball. And if you're going to keep getting 10 yards per carry, keep doing it until you get like a whole bunch of first downs and touchdowns. Or we need to eat the clock. That's going to be important, but we'll see what the passing game looks like. Sonny Dykes, first-year coach. And we're running a very vanilla 3-3-5 defense. Ron, SEC? Yes. I think you'll be fine when they get to the SEC. By then, they'll have a whole bunch of classes under their belt. Jackson Arnold will be the starting quarterback, and we'll have other quarterbacks in the stable behind them. That's the thing you got to remember. Ron, the SEC is not a whole bunch of Alabamas or a whole bunch of Georgias. It's literally Alabama and Georgia. And then once every like 4 or 5 years, LSU randomly populates. But that's it. You act like everybody else is just so great in the SEC. They're not. Stoops had a winning record in the SEC. So did Lincoln Riley when it was non-conference playoffs. Because when you go to the playoffs, that's usually when you have generational talent, generational type teams. Yeah. SEC will be fine. And we got our good troll, David Davis, all them first names. I don't know what the heck you're doing over here, but all the rankings, you're right. All the teams that from Oklahoma, all the teams that are leaving the Big 12 or left Big 12 are not ranked. You are 100% right. Don't worry about it. That'll change in a year. We'll give it that. Hopefully this team bounces back and finishes the year out with only those 2 losses. We'll see. We don't know. We don't know what these players are going to do when they bounce back. This team, a lot of people reported that this team was really broken in that locker room when, everybody left, and then they started to see a cycle of people gone. And then they started bringing new people in. So it's going to take time to mesh. Hopefully they figure it out. It's like, Hank, I'm here to the end. Period. So with that, thank you for checking us out here on Unfair Sports. We're going to be keeping this talking OU football stuff or whatnot. Please hit the like button while you're here and subscribe because I'm going to be dropping all kinds of college football content. I'm going to talk about my rankings. I actually do my rankings after week 6. Is when I like to do mine because I think that closer to the college football playoff ones, that's when it actually matters. Now it will look more like standings at the same time as we know who's good and who's not. So I'll put out my standings or whatnot, talk about a lot of these Big 12 teams because of the teams that we'll be playing against soon. That way you guys can be as informed as possible. So Again, hit the like button, hit subscribe, share, because sharing is caring. Appreciate you pulling up. With that, we'll chop it up, in about a day or two. Peace.